my name's Alexia, and for my final project I decided to do the Rheinisches Landesmuseum Trier, which in English translates to the Rhineland Archaeological Museum in Trier. And it just so happens that for this project I chose one that was close enough for me to drive to, and I decided we'd take a little class trip down there together. And so without further ado, here is the video from that. The Landesmuseum can be considered one of the most important museums in Germany. It is home to around 4,500 objects dating from the Stone Age to the 18th century. Many of these pieces have been discovered in Trier or the surrounding region, and the museum flows in a way to show that cultural development and shifts in that time. The Landesmuseum's main goal is to preserve the artifacts of not only Trier but any from the region in the hopes that they can continue to provide education of the past. The museum offers free audio guides as well as a theater production actually held in the site of the burial monuments, which will be seen near the end of the video. They also have changing special exhibits. Their current one is called Spot N, which features archaeological finds never seen before now, and we will touch on that later as well. The Landesmuseum also houses the largest hoard of Roman gold from the Imperial era, but was unfortunately closed for construction at the time of my visit. What you will see in this video, however, is the largest collection of mosaic floors that the museum has been able to preserve. Something interesting to also note is that the museum itself actually rests right next to the ancient Roman baths that have been excavated for artifacts, some of which reside in the museum itself. Something I found particularly interesting is that a large chunk of the collection are findings from the museum's own excavations. These excavations began in 1877, the opening year of the museum, and have continued to have support today. Included in these excavations are findings from the many temples around Trier. These digs achieved by Dr. Siegfried Loesch in the early 1900s. While the findings were not unexpected, the sheer amount of preserved pieces were overwhelming at the time, some of which can still be seen today on display. The Landesmuseum also boasts a lab of dendrochronology. This lab is in charge of the Trier oak calendar, a tree calendar that ranges from present day to the 8th century BC. Apart from this, they currently have two projects in the work: a compilation of a 6,000 years long Central European oak chronology of hydroclimatic reconstruction managed by Dr. Willy Tegel, as well as a revision of available dendrochronological investigations as part of the interdisciplinary research project regarding architectural and art history of the Cathedral of Trier, managed by Professor Dr. Brotfried Kircher and Professor Dr. Manfred Schuler. Something that I forgot to mention earlier that actually ended up being one of my favorite parts of the museum was the large mosaic collection that they had. It's actually the largest north of the Alps, but it is just so intact and you can actually touch them. They allow you to touch them, and they are the actual mosaic ceilings and walls and floors. They were used as a symbol of power, and to find so many intact and to be able to show them to the people is a really cool fact for me. Of everything, I think I really appreciated the special exhibit they currently have going on, Spot N, because it provided a different way of seeing the information that they were trying to give us. They actually included a lot of virtual building so we could see exactly what it looked like in the time that it was from. So I think earlier in the video I showed actually a piece that was a church. They found and excavated a church and showed video of what it would have looked like in the time they found these items. Due to the region's past, much of the exhibit is composed of Roman artifacts gained during the time in which the German area was controlled by Rome. To be quite honest, having lived in Germany for the last few years and learning just how much destruction was caused during the World Wars, it is quite shocking to see how many of the pieces survive to be on display today. The preservation of so many items has helped the region track the influences of history, which is no easy task for the hotbed of activity that is Trier. The exhibit was a wonderful walkthrough, probably one of the more extensive ones I've ever been to. Educational wise, there's not much I can say that is not positive about this display, other than the vagueness and information on the history of their excavations, like who did it or how long it took. However, the layout was a bit confusing. They have so much to show that even after 4 floors, I was worried I missed something important. They also do not cater much past their German tourists. While their audio guide supported around 7 languages, their signs were not so accommodating. The larger signs at the beginning of each room explained what could be found in these rooms in 3 languages: German, English, and French. However, these were also the only signs that had any other language past German, meaning any non-German speaking visitors would not be able to read the smaller, more in-depth pieces of information scattered about the room. While I myself do read quite a bit of German, I still had trouble reading some of these signs and would have appreciated them to be in English for me to better understand them. All in all, I would recommend the Rheinisches Landesmuseum Trier to anybody who wants to know about German history, especially German archaeological history. I hope you guys learned as much as I have on this trip. More than likely not. It's kind of hard to fit everything I learned in this 3-hour span that I was at the museum in just a single video, but I still hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.